Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. I'm your host, the Dividend Aristocrat, and today we're going to be taking a look and talking about my investing plan for 2025. In this video, we'll take a look at my previous investing plan for 2024 and see if I accomplished my goals or not for the year, and if not, we'll talk about why not and how close we were to accomplishing those goals. We'll also take a look at my current portfolio and compare it to the one I had at the beginning of 2024 and see what has changed in the past year and why it's changed in the ways that it has. After that, I'll walk you through my plan for 2025 and explain what has changed and what has led me to make those changes to my strategy. If you guys do enjoy this type of content and have been keeping up with the weekly uploads on the channel, I would appreciate if you could subscribe. I'm trying to hit 2K subscribers by the end of 2025. As a reminder, this is not financial advice and I'm just merely sharing my opinions on this channel. Now with that being said, let's take a look at my portfolio dashboard. Right here, you can see my current portfolio and all the stats related to my portfolio. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to compare the current stats to what it looked like at the beginning of 2024 and we'll see how much we've improved since then. So hopping onto my channel, The Dividend Aristocrat, if you guys haven't subscribed, don't forget to do so. It's right there and it takes just a second of your time. So far, I posted 55 videos on the channel and you guys can see right here all the different thumbnails for those videos. Now, if I keep scrolling all the way down, you can see my first couple videos on the channel and they were pretty rough. Not only the videos were pretty rough, but also the thumbnails were not great as well. And you can see a little bit how I improved over time and kind of found my niche and my style of editing. The reason I wanted to bring you guys here first is to show you guys my 2024 investing plan. If you guys still haven't checked out that video from last year, I still recommend you check it out. There's a lot of cool stuff I talked about in the video and a lot of important lessons to take away from it. But the main thing I want to show here is that my goal was to go from $32,500, that was my portfolio value at the time of recording that video, and I wanted to get it to $50,000 by the end of 2024, and I would consider this a pretty good accomplishment. Now, I wasn't sure if I would be able to hit that number. I would need a lot of stock price appreciation as well as a lot of capital added to the portfolio in order to make this happen, but I would say that we did manage to succeed with that goal. As it currently stands, my portfolio value sits at $48,761, and just a week ago, it was sitting so close to $50,000. Technically, we have not broken that barrier just yet or hit that milestone, but we're getting super close to that, and with the cash position we have on the side, we've technically more than surpassed that. Now, clicking on the video, I thought it would be nice to take a look at what my portfolio dashboard looked like at the time, and since I don't have any screenshots of it, this is the easiest way to take a look at it. So in total, I had invested $26,130 at the time of recording that video in the beginning of 2024. My portfolio value was sitting at $32,593. Comparing that to right now, we can see that in total I've invested $35,899, so almost a $10,000 increase, and my portfolio value is sitting at $48,761. Now, my unrealized gain at the time was sitting at $6,463.47, and my total return was sitting at 24.74%, and I believe at the time this was following a pretty big pullback in the stock market. In contrast, my current unrealized gain is basically double that at $12,861, and my total return is at 35.83%, but it was much closer to 50% recently. Looking here, we can see that I've earned $1,454 worth of dividend income so far in the portfolio, and my yearly projected income going forward is $800. Comparing that to the beginning of 2024, at the time I'd only earned $758 worth of dividend income, and my yearly projected income going forward was only $635.37. Now, something I find interesting is that my portfolio yield was a bit higher at 1.95%, and my yield on cost was also higher at 2.43%. Currently, my portfolio yield is at 1.64%, my yield on cost is at 2.23%, but the main reason for this is that there has been a lot of price appreciation in the holdings which I own. On top of that, my main focus in the portfolio is to focus on total return, and so I've been focusing on buying lower dividend yielding companies that have a bigger dividend growth track record. Now, I'm currently sitting on a cash position of $10,186, which I'm pretty sure is much higher than what I had in 2024, and my total holdings are at 24 holdings. Now, at the beginning of 2024, I actually held 23 different holdings, so that is a little bit less than what I own right now. During the year, I did sell some of these holdings, and I think I brought it down to 20 or 21 different holdings, but since then I purchased a couple new stocks. Now, one of my goals in 2024 was to reduce the number of holdings that I have, but I have clearly failed at that, so that's going to be another goal going forward for me for 2025. I don't see the point of so much diversification at the moment, especially since such a large percentage of my portfolio is in VOO and SCHD, so I want to cut down on the holdings I have and only keep the highest quality companies that I can. The main reason I tend to end up with too many companies is because I like to buy companies at a discount when they're trading for a little bit cheaper than they usually do, and because of that, I end up picking up a lot of different companies towards the end of the year. My cash position at the beginning of the year was only $2,000, so we've been able to add to that nicely. Now, taking a look at the table down here, what it does do is it shows me how much I've invested each year since I started investing into this portfolio and how much I've received in dividend income every single year. Now our main comparison here is basically 2024 versus 2023. So in 2023, I invested $9,759 and in 2024, I beat that at $10,076.59. This year, I received $729 with a dividend income, and that definitely beats out $459 in 2023, and I like how quickly it's been increasing over time. Now the next big milestone, of course, is $1,000 per year, but I don't think we'll be able to hit that in 2025. Alright, so now let's jump into the PowerPoint that I made last year for my investing goals for 2024, and I don't do PowerPoints as often on the channel anymore. If that's something you guys like to see and want me to incorporate more into the videos, I'm more than happy to do so. Just let me know down below in the comments what you think. So the first thing I did last year when making my investing goals for 2024 is see what my biggest investments were for the previous year, which in that case was 2023. That year, my number one biggest investment was Texas Instruments at $2,157.57, and I mentioned at the time that I wasn't planning on buying any more because I bought it in a pretty significant dip. Now, I was prepared for the company to not appreciate too much in stock price in 2024, but it actually had some decent performance in the end, though I do think it's overvalued at the moment. My second largest investment in 2023 was SCHD at $2,060, and I really wanted to increase my allocation to this ETF compared to VOO. At the time, it was a very small position of mine, but I wanted to increase it because of dividend income, the dividend growth, and also the companies that it holds within the ETF. Now, I mentioned at the time that if the ETF continued to trade sideways, I would add more to the position in 2024, but we did see some good stock price appreciation in SCHD towards the later half of the year, so I didn't add much money into that position at all. Now, for this upcoming year, I am planning on adding more into SCHD on a more consistent basis, them and VOO, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. And my third largest investment for 2023 was S&P Global. I'm a big fan of this company. I've talked about it on a decent amount of videos, and I am potentially looking to buy some more in 2025 if the price continues to go down. Lately, the company has been trending down in stock price, but it's still definitely not a cheap company, but it is a very good quality business. At the time, I had mentioned that I bought on some big dips, and I wasn't planning on buying any more unless it dipped significantly again, and in 2024, we didn't buy any more shares of the company. Now for 2024, my largest investments were not the same companies as for 2023. My biggest investment was $3,505.88 in Booz Allen Hamilton. This is the most I've ever invested into a single company. I'm not including, of course, SCHG and VOO since those are ETFs and they're basically a basket of funds. Now, Booz Allen Hamilton is a defense contractor and it works in the IT and intelligence sector. If you guys want to see a more in-depth video about this company and why I decided to invest in it, check out this video that I'll pin right up here. Now, I think this company has a bright future ahead of it. It's going to have a bit of a hard time, especially if there's any cost-cutting measures from the new administration towards the defense industry, but if not, I think they'll do pretty well for themselves. Now, I've already invested a lot into this company, but the company's stock price is still sitting decently lower than my cost basis, so if the company's stock price continues to trend downwards over the next couple months, I could be adding more into this company. I'll prefer not to lock up too much capital into a single position because of my risk tolerance, but I am willing to put up to $5,000 into a single company with my current portfolio allocation. My second largest investment for 2024 was United Health, and I invested $2,418.90. Now this one is pretty neat because in my 2024 investing goals video, I actually talked about how I was looking to buy United Health and I've had my eye on the company for a while and I was hoping to be able to buy it in 2024. Now I also mentioned in the video that the company did dip after its earnings report, but that it had not dipped enough for me to want to purchase the company and I was willing to be patient and wait if I could. Now I also did clarify that if the company decided to do a V-shaped recovery and kind of go straight back upwards, I would not feel bad if I missed out on buying United Health at a discounted stock price. In my case, my patience paid off and the company dipped even further at the start of the new year in January and February, and I purchased a lot of shares of this company. Now for the majority of 2024, this was my largest investment, and for the following months afterwards, I actually didn't invest any money into my portfolio because I had to recover and build up a little bit of a cash position. So far, this company has been under a lot of controversy and has had a bit of a hard time in 2024, but we'll have to see how 2025 and 2026 treat it. And last, we have Google at $1,445 invested, and I only invested in this company a little bit towards the later half of the year. The company's stock price dipped to around $145, $150, where I purchased a couple shares, and the stock price kind of recovered really quickly upwards. After that, it dipped down to $160 again, and I believe I purchased a couple more shares at that time. And if you guys want to see my videos talking about United Health or Google, I'll also pin those right here. Now, unless there's some heavy recession, I do think Google is going to have a pretty strong 2025. I'm looking forward to continue holding this company. If there are any buying opportunities, I'll be adding more into the company as well. Now let's take a look at the monthly goals that I have for 2024 and compare them to my new monthly goals for 2025. I mainly wanted to invest into two accounts, my taxable investment account and my Roth IRA. Now on this channel, I focus mostly on my taxable investment account, but I do sometimes highlight stocks that I hold in my Roth IRAs such as Agri Realty Corporation or Realty Income. For my taxable account, my goal was to contribute $1,000 every month, and for my Roth IRA, my goal is to contribute $583 every month, which will put me to the $7,000 threshold. Now for 2025, I'm not making any changes to the amount I'm putting into my taxable account. I'm pretty comfortable with the amount that it's currently at, and I've been able to hit it every single month. However, for the Roth IRA, I am changing it to $584 per month, and it's not actually a big difference because it's still going to be the $7,000 limit. I just found that I was front loading most of the money at the start of the year, and then I had a little bit less to pay at the end of the year. Now real quick, I do want to hop in and show you guys my future value calculator, and what this does is it lets you put in some inputs of your own, and based on those assumptions, it will calculate how much your portfolio value could be in the next 10, 20, 30, or even 40 years. Now if you guys want to try this out for yourself and play around with some of the features of the calculator, head over to my Patreon and join the Patreon where you guys can download this future value calculator for free. I do have a lot of changes planned for the Patreon, so make sure to get this calculator while it's still there. So looking here, my starting principal is my current portfolio value. My annual contribution is that $1,000 per month or $12,000 per year that we saw right before. My annual dividend yield is my current portfolio dividend yield, and my expected dividend increase and expected price appreciation can be changed to whatever I think makes the most amount of sense. In this case, I'm going to go a little bit more aggressive and put 6% for dividend increase, and I'm going to put about 10% for my expected price appreciation. Using those values, we can see that 10 years from now, the portfolio value should be at $301,426. Now to see something more interesting, let's go into the 30-year time frame, and that's where we start getting into the millions in this case. We're talking about a $3 million portfolio value at the end of year 30. Now, if somehow you have the time to wait for 40 years, we can see how drastically and how incredibly it compounds all the way up to $8.5 million at the end of year 40. Now, in real life, there's a lot that could change by the end of year 40 in terms of your actual portfolio value, but this just helps me get a gauge of where I could be at the end of that year. So next, let's take a look at my strategy. Basically, how do I want to deploy that $1,000 per month into my taxable account? So basically, I'm going to split this money into two. I'm going to have two pools of $500, and the first $500 is going to go into ETFs, and the second $500 is going to go into either stocks, or it could also go back into the ETFs. Now, the main reason for this is because if you guys have been keeping up with the channel, you've seen that my target allocations has basically been 50% ETFs and 50% stocks. Now, right now, my stock position is actually significantly overvalued compared to my ETF position, so I do need to do some catch-ups on my ETF, and I'd rather not sell any of my stocks. I'd rather just add more money into the ETFs. By doing this, I allow myself to invest in undervalued stocks if I find the opportunities, but if not, I can just push that money back towards ETFs. Now, the reason I'm going to be doing monthly investing versus last year where I was waiting for opportunities and saving my money in cash on the side is because I already have too large of a cash position at the moment. I still plan on keeping a substantial position in cash just in case there is a big dip, but going forward, I don't need to continue adding to that cash pile. Because of this, I'm going to be investing $1,000 per month no matter what the market looks like, and I'm going to be dollar cost averaging every single month. It's hard to predict when the market will choose to correct itself, and even in that case, a lot of times ETFs will not crash as significantly as stocks, so I should at least be putting money into ETFs each month. Individual stock prices do tend to fluctuate a lot more than ETFs, so I have that opportunity with the $500 per month to invest into those stocks that are more undervalued that month. Now looking at the My Pie section of my spreadsheet, we can see here my portfolio value of $48,761 and my $10,000 of additional cash on the side, which gives me a 17.3% cash position right now, which is very high. Now for me, anything between 10 to 20% is fine. Anything over that starts being a little bit too excessive, even if we're in a high economic environment. Now my target allocation for my key to success, which is my ETFs, is 50%, but I'm currently sitting much lower than that at 42.6%. My divine dividends at 40%, but it's currently sitting higher than that at 48.6%. And miscellaneous stocks are at 10%, but they're currently sitting at 8.8%. Now opening up the different pies to see my slices, we can see that we have VOO and SCHD in the key to success section, and that's the funds I'm going to be investing in every single month no matter what. Now for my stocks, I'm going to be investing in any stocks each month from these two sections, and my divine dividend section is more of my blue chip companies, and the miscellaneous are ones that just don't fit anywhere else. We can see here that I did end up selling both Union Pacific and Coca-Cola this past year, and if you guys want to see videos on that, I can also leave them in the description below, or you can just check out the channel. Now Lowe's and Home Depot are still both highlighted yellow, and that's because I want to keep one or the other instead of holding both companies. Now I think this year I'm going to have to be considering whether I want to get rid of General Dynamics and Northrop Grumman Corporation. I think they're both strong companies, but with defense, I actually prefer Booz Allen Hamilton, so I might liquidate these positions and put the money into Booz Allen Hamilton instead. Now with the new investments we saw in Google, Booz Allen Hamilton, and United Health, we can see that they're pretty large positions in my portfolio, with United Health being 5.4%, Google being 5.9%, and Booz Allen Hamilton being 6.5% as it currently stands. Now over here, we can also see that I recently purchased Uber. It's about 2.8% of my portfolio value, and I would like to add more into this position, but it has had a bit of a jump recently, and I would like the price to come back down just a tiny bit more. Intel, 3M, and Ford are all on the chopping block, and I could see them being sold this year. So last year, I ended the video by doing a recap of the points we talked about. That way we can check off whether or not we were able to hit those goals. So the first goal we talked about was to invest $12,000 into the taxable account. The next one is to put $7,000 into my Roth IRA and then earn $500 or more in dividend income. And lastly, I had set aside the goal of having an annual projected income of $1,000 in 2024. So I put kind of like a half check mark for the first one. I only invested $10,000 into my taxable account stocks, but I actually put a lot more money into cash in my money market fund in that same account. So you consider that as maybe half complete. In total, I did put more than $12,000 into the account, but only $10,000 of it got invested into stocks. Now for my Roth IRA, I don't update this on the channel, but I did hit the goal of $7,000, which I'm very happy with, and I did earn more than $500 of dividend income last year. Now in terms of the annual projected income, we weren't even close. Right now we're at $796 or something like that, but it's actually not that bad as it seems. Technically speaking, with the $10,000 I have sitting on the side in the money market fund, if I would have invested all of that into SCHD, I would technically have an annual projected income of higher than $1,000. However, since I definitely did not do that, I'm going to count that as a fail for the year. Now for 2025, let's see what's changed. So basically the only thing that's changed is I'm going to be hoping to earn over $800 in dividend income for the year, and we're pretty close to hitting that already. I wanted to earn over $1,000 this year, but it's a little too ambitious, so I set a more achievable goal. And in terms of that $1,000 annual projected income, I do hope and I do think we'll be able to hit it this year for sure. Now I do want to clarify that I am hoping to put more than $12,000 into my taxable account this year, but that all depends on my living expenses for the year and how much I'm able to put aside. So heading back to my portfolio dashboard, I did want to hit on a couple other goals I had, and this is a little bit more channel specific. A big goal of mine this year is to work on my Patreon and finally be able to make this spreadsheet available to my subscribers. I know I've been getting a lot of comments about it and a lot of people are very interested in it. I am planning on doing so and I've been working pretty hard at it, just haven't had quite the time to finish it up. Now if I had to set a timeline on it, I'm hoping to get a version of the spreadsheet available by the end of Q1 2025. Another thing that I'm really satisfied about and I'm hoping to continue in 2025 is my weekly uploads. Aside from a couple weeks here and there, I've been able to consistently post videos on a weekly basis, usually every Sunday, and sometimes I've even posted an extra video in the middle of the week. This year, I want to continue focusing on those Sunday uploads, but I want to also experiment with posting more middle of the week content, for example, 2 videos per week, and I also want to try to post some shorts if that's possible. If you guys have any suggestions for the channel at all, what you want to see in terms of content or in terms of frequency of uploads, definitely let me know down in the comments below. Now that does bring us to the end of today's video. If you guys did enjoy it, I really appreciate it if you could leave a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a ton. If you did make it this far into the video, let me know in the comments down below what your investing goals are for 2025. If you want to check out my most recent video where I talk about my dividend income for the month of December, check out this video right here. And if you are interested in seeing my updated portfolio holdings, check out this video right here where I cover all of my holdings in the portfolio. Remember, the best time to invest was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. I want to thank every single one of you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.